good brother, Apia Dankwa. It's always a pleasure to be on the show with you. And of course, my own brother from the now so-called fake party, political party, Esquire. You see, I have been monitoring developments as far as the New Patriotic Party is concerned. I think it is fair to say somewhere before 2004, but more intense after 2006, 2007. We all still remember how heated the contests were in the 2008 general election, no, 2007 primaries of the New Patriotic Party. And Senator, for many of us, I remember then that the National Democratic Congress as a political party had cause to caution the New Patriotic Party about the possible election of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the possible consequences such a choice could have or would have had on the fortunes of Ghana and the political party NPP itself. The NDC was branded in all manner of adjectives. We should not dictate to the NPP as to how to elect a flag bearer. We are tagging Nana Addo as being arrogant and dictatorial in tendencies because we fear him in an election contest. All manner of things were said. And I'm sure at the time, my good friend and brother, Apia Dankwa and Co, all defended that position because they believed then in the politics of the New Patriotic Party. But it was not the National Democratic Congress alone that raised those red flags. I remember somewhere in 2007 in London, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor had cause to caution the New Patriotic Party about the election or possible election of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, where he said that they needed to resist the temptation to elect a candidate who is full of tension, because it could have dire consequences on the future of the party and the stability of the nation. These cautions were thrown outside the window by the New Patriotic Party and its support base. They proceeded to elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Today, what we are discussing around this table about the future of the political party called NPP, as to whether it's fake or not, is simply a manifestation and consequence of the choice that the party exercised in 2007 in electing Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. No one can run away from it. And when he became flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, what did he do? We saw for the first time the attempt by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to totally overhaul the politics of the New Patriotic Party and detach it from its Buzia Dankwa roots to a Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ideological political party, ably supported by with members. I think he was supported with members of his own family, the likes of Gabi Ochiridako and Ken. We cautioned, we told them even after 2008, when they lost the election, the way this man is going is not only dangerous to the NPP, but to the entirety of this nation. They still failed to listen. And Nana Addo started rolling out his political strategy of control and transformation within the politics of the NPP. Many of them were quiet, including Professor Frimpong Boateng. And you see, Professor Frimpong Boateng's recent outbursts does not isolate him as far as the mess of the New Patriotic Party is concerned. And I'll demonstrate why, Senator. When we started cautioning and indicated that, look, be careful. When Nana Addo started rolling out his elaborate strategy to take control, we're all in this country. When national executives who were elected in Congress were booted out of office under bizarre circumstances. Indeed, the General Secretary, even before his removal, struggled to have access to his office. He was violently assaulted because the flag bearer, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was simply not comfortable with him and the national chairman. They invoked all manner of questionable legal processes to oust these two people. Because we even knew prior to the Congress that these were not favorites of Nana Addo in that particular Congress that elected them. The likes of Professor Frimpong Boateng, they were all quiet. National chairmen who were seen to be against the candidature of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo or not committed were sidelined. Regional chairmen were sidelined. Indeed, unfortunately, one of them even had to lose his life. That was the kind of culture. That was the kind of culture that took over the politics of the NPP when Nana Addo emerged. Dissent became criminal in the politics of the NPP. The likes of Kennedy Agyapong were all quiet. They were all part of that system. And as if that was not enough, when he eventually had his hands on the seat of government, it worsened. For 8 good years, Nana Addo's word became the law in the politics of the New Patriotic Party. Senna, let us not forget that even the current crop of leadership that we are having at the National Executive Committee level and even in Parliament is still a consequence of Nana Addo's decisions as President of the Republic of Ghana. You know that the front bench in Parliament was settled on when he was still President of the Republic of Ghana and had immeasurable influence as President. These National Executive Committee members were elected at the time President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was in charge of our country. And we all know the influence the executive would have when it comes to election of party executives in power. So, this is the record of the NPP. And when we were telling them, they thought that the havoc was going to affect Ghana alone. Of course, we are living witnesses to the devastation that Nana Addo's leadership as president has caused this nation, from the economic sphere to even our human rights record, where for the first time since '92, journalists had to run out of this country, and one unfortunately murdered for simply trying to do their work of holding government, that is holding government accountable. Because such dissent, political dissent, is alien to the politics of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even though over the years he succeeded in branding himself as a humanitarian lawyer intended to deceive many Ghanaians. That is it. And so we can call the NPP a fake political party, we can describe it whatever we want, until the NPP appreciates that where they are is because of the choice they made in 2007. And the time has come for them to retrace their steps. So, Kwesi, whether you like it or not, what we have in place is not the 1992 NPP. And I'm glad you accepted to that fact. What we have in place is not the 96 NPP. And it is not the 2000 NPP. What we have in place is a Nana Addo People's Political Party.
Nana's People's Party.
Nana's People's Party. That Nana Addo used 16 good years, 8 years in opposition and 8 years in government to shape. So it is not just a Congress you need or a new flag bearer you need to elect to cut ties with that particular past. And unfortunately, there's no indication that you are even willing to cut ties as far as that tradition is concerned. You see, you can comfortably put all the mess on the doorstep of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. because he was his vice president. But the likes of Kennedy Japan all aided the persecution in the last 18 years as far as your party members are concerned. They took active part in that persecution. And today we are dealing with a political party that communicates either unconsciously or consciously that it is a party that lacks principles. And the current outburst of Professor Frimpong Boakye gives credence to that assertion. Because trust me, he knew the problems of the New Patriotic Party even before he accepted to serve as a minister under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. When these people were suffering, when the likes of Paul Afoko were being hounded, where was Professor Frimpong Boakye? Where were the values that he now wants us to accept? And you see, that is always the politics of the NPP. Like my brother indicated, it is not about the national interest. It has always been parochial and personal. Today, because Professor Frimpong Boakye is on the wrong side of the machinations, he thinks that simply referring to the political party as fake is enough to get us to agree with him and begin to sympathize with him. Absolutely not. I resist that invitation. I resist it entirely. Because we would not allow ourselves to be used to play or satisfy his parochial or personal desires as far as his association with the NPP is concerned. And indeed, it is a manifestation of the parochial nature of the NPP. They've always done that. We don't need Professor Frimpong Boakye to tell us that the NPP is fake of today. We've always known that. Especially when we belong to the category of people cautioning them since 2007 to be careful of the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Today, look at Ghana, look at the economy NDC inherited. Yeah. Nana Addo is a cancerous leader. And he infects anything he touches. I just hope and pray that it doesn't even continue as former president of the Republic of Ghana, because we must keep an eye on him in terms of his international engagements before he drags down that reputation too. Yeah. He's a cancerous leader. And it is that cancer that is eating out the NPP today. Yeah. Thankfully, Ghanaians have decided to go for a reset. So we may be able to succeed. We may succeed in our reset agenda when it comes to the national destruction that he caused. Yeah. But I cannot say same when it comes to the politics of the NPP. But you see, my brother is failing to appreciate one thing when he attempted to make a comparison between the National Democratic Congress and that of the NPP. It is true that the NDC has also changed. Yeah. But you need to appreciate the drivers of that particular change. As a political party, we've always known that our ideals can remain same over the years. But when it comes to the modus operandi or the principles surrounding the achievement of these ideals, in line with modernity, we would be expected to change. And so we change for the better. When we decided to launch the new NDC at the National Theatre prior to the 2008 general election, it was simply because we were responding to a challenge. And that challenge had to do with the fact that the concern of the good people of this country was about independence of the leader who were presented, His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills. Because for 4 years under President Jerry Rawlings, 4 years was so insufficient for the ordinary Ghanaian to have seen President Mills as a man of independent stature. Yeah. But those who were close to the politics of the NPP, even as vice president, knew that President Mills was not a pushover. Even Rawlings as vice president couldn't push him over. But that message needed to get down to the Ghanaian people. And it was one of the reasons why there was the need for us to launch the new NDC, and also to assure people that there was a breakaway. We are beginning to break away from the past where the NDC's past was also inextricably linked to the PNDC era, that many other people had concerns about. And so we needed to change. We were bold to accept that change, even though we knew it was going to injure some people within the politics of the NDC. But we were not faced. Because, like our name suggests, National Democratic Congress. Ours is a Congress. It's not just a political party. And so we have CPP people there. We have PP, your own New Patriotic Party tradition. Many of them are in there with us. At any point in time, and we would continue to engage in that contest, even internally. At any point in time, a sect emerges. We will all bow and allow that sect to lead us. Yeah. So under President Mills, the Nkrumah sect emerged. And as a Congress, we had no choice than to respect it. Because in principle, we do not disagree with the politics of Nkrumah. Indeed, we associate with it fully. So that is a progressive political party. We're responding to a national call for change. And we responded aptly. And we held our grounds even in power. But in doing so, did you see us sign letters sacking His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings from the party? And even those who at the time decided to associate with him and were not big names in the politics of the NDC. We managed him. Those we had to sack, we used laid-down processes to suspend. Not through reckless press statements as we are seeing today from the New Patriotic Party. And so my brother, that is the difference. And you must appreciate that difference when it comes to the politics of the NDC. Today, the question you should be asking, and I'm glad about the picture you painted because you agree that there's everything wrong with the political party that you associate with today. You agree in principle. But then the question is, do you think that those who are parading or competing to lead the New Patriotic Party, do you think they are the solution to the problems you enumerated? And I can take them one by one. Is it Ken Ofuriatta? No. Kennedy Ajapong we are talking about, the man you are presenting on this platform. He is an example of how politics in this country shouldn't be conducted, especially in modern times. The presidency of this country is a position we must revere because your decisions will border on the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian. Your composure is critical in terms of our international image and diplomatic relations. Temperaments are critical when it comes to leading a state. We all know the conduct of Kennedy Ajapong. So if today Kennedy Ajapong is being branded or marketed as the solution to your problems, then my brother, clearly you do not appreciate the challenges that you are faced with as a political party, because he will worsen it. A gentleman who is a master politician when it comes to stoking ethnic conflicts, ethnic disagreements, calling on a sect to attack another publicly. Today, his campaign revolves around ethnicity and religion. Divisive twin principles when it comes to cohesion, national cohesion. And you want us to gamble with such a leader? Goodness God. And you proudly brand this as a solution to the NPP's problems? Unbelievable. Is it Brian Apchampo? A man who lacks an iota of ethics when it comes to public service, seated as a cabinet minister and unethically attempts to use his own private company to buy state assets. as a cabinet minister. So if as a cabinet minister, serving under Nana Addo, he had the appetite to do this, only God knows what will happen to this country when he mistakenly becomes president of the Republic of Ghana. And he is the solution to your problems. My brother. Now, even apart from that, look at the reckless commentary he championed prior to the 2024 general election and the incitements as a minister of state. Is it Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? Who is the solution to your problem? We've seen the politics of Dr. Bawumia for 16 good years as running mate to Nana Addo and as head of the economic management team. His record is still glaring. I can appreciate the attempts to distance him from the politics of Nana Addo, but I say with certainty that there's little Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has to offer as far as the new challenge facing the New Patriotic Party is concerned. But interestingly, and I will say this, amongst all the names being bandied around, he is best suited to lead their political party as we speak today. Unfortunately, he is best suited to lead. Because if you are going to measure him on the track record of temperaments, he's far, far better than the likes of Ken. The ability to possibly carry people along is far, far better. He understands, or he knows their party even more than any of the flag bearers going to lead now. At least if for nothing at all, for 16 years, he's been to many of the constituencies in this country as running mate, subsequently vice president and president. So he even understands the party more than those who claim to be party members. How many of them can see constituency executives across the nation and be able to refer to them by names? He campaigned for long, so he ought to know them more than them. But you see, Senna, it still does not solve the problem the NPP finds itself. And like my brother indicated, for me, there is the need for them to go back to the drawing board. They need to retrace their steps. The incompetence is not only reflective at the level of the flag bearership race. It permeates the National Executive Committee and the Parliament of Ghana, their front bench in Parliament. Look at the front bench and the conduct of their leadership. Then you come to the National Executive Committee, their General Secretary. What the heck? And he is supposed to drive the party at this critical point? Justin Kodua lacks that mettle and tact when it comes to leadership. That's why he released statements like the one he just released. So the party is in crisis. Indeed, crisis is an understatement. It's in comatose. And there is the need for them to accept that and begin to engage possibly with the United Party. If for nothing at all, maybe to come under your wings. Because now you are leading the charge when it comes to your tradition, the Buzia Dankwa tradition, clearly. They are the new political party that seems to be, that appears to be championing that particular agenda. But as for the New Patriotic Party, like I said, we will continue to wish you well in your internal affairs. Those of us from the National Democratic Congress, but be mindful that when we criticize for the collective good of this country. And so when we do listen, your failure to listen in 2007, today we are still dealing with the effects of that failure. Senna, on that note, I think that I don't need to waste so much energy and time on a party that has lost clear focus. The most important thing is for us to focus on the governance of this nation, that the National Democratic Congress is ably championing under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The NPP has lost its way.